Attention citizens of Super Earth. It's been an incredible year of valor, victory, and unity as we continue our mission to spread managed democracy across the galaxy. From the most inspiring historical lessons of valiant Helldivers to tales of legendary heroes that prospered before and the current ones helping to spread glorious freedom throughout the galaxy. Today, we celebrate the triumphs and chaos that have helped define Helldivers in 2188. Let's dive in and rewatch these epic events. To understand the present, we must truly honor the past. Super Earth salutes the entire history series that taught us the lessons of Super Earth's tumultuous past and glorious triumphs throughout the multiple campaigns our great democracy has faced. Lessons we carry to the forefront every day. Join us as we revisit some of these iconic moments that help define our shared heritage in the efforts of spreading freedom to a previously subjugated galaxy. Before we jump into the history of the First Galactic War, let's have a quick democratic word from our sponsor, G2A.
Attention Helldivers, this is an urgent message from Super Earth. G2A knows just how hard you've been laying down democracy across the galaxy, and they want to show their appreciation with the Gate to Adventure Christmas sale. Check out these super deals on stratagem training resources, including titles like Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and Stalker 2. If you still haven't taken the dive for liberty, democracy, and Super Earth, now's the time with G2A's offer on Helldivers 2. G2A also has an advent calendar. Each day, select titles will go on super sale, but you'll have to act fast, Helldivers. Just like your stim packs, supplies are limited. So make sure to visit their website. It's easier than initiating an extraction and faster than clearing a cluster of bug holes. For liberty, democracy, and Super Earth, check out the link in the description for more.
Today we will examine the entire history of the First Galactic War and finally put any doubts to rest. Our species has gone from strength to strength, rising up to become the dominant form of life on the planet. Prior to or during the Great War, the Alcubierre warp drive was invented at some point in the 2030s, enabling faster than light, or FTL, travel to virtually any point in the galaxy, and in so doing, discovered alien species inhabiting worlds in other sectors. Shortly after this, the first conflicts began, and so the First Galactic War went into full motion. Now, if for some reason you missed your super history classes, we'll kindly remind you of the enemy factions that played a key role in the First Galactic War. The first of these is the Bugs, which bear many resemblances to the Terminids, but are genetically and structurally quite different in a number of ways. The second faction consists of former humans that became obsessed with augmenting their bodies using inferior technology to become the hideously socialist cyborgs. And last but certainly not least, we have the dreaded Illuminates, aka the Squith, a species of highly advanced cephalopod-like aliens with strange psionic abilities. Though very different, each faction posed a significant threat to Super Earth. The Bugs with their enormous numbers, the Illuminates with their super weapons, and, worst of all, the Cyborgs with their socialist, reformist ideals. There can be no doubt that the First Galactic War is what made the Helldiver Corps the unstoppable fighting force it is today. The First Galactic War lasted about 40 years and took place from 2044 to 2084. In that time, countless operations were conducted, and casualties on all sides were indeed heavy. We are sure that most of you are well aware of Planet X-45 in the Emir sector. Well, during the First Galactic War, it was the location of a secret weapons research lab. In spite of our best efforts to keep this facility concealed, the Cyborgs became aware of its existence and so moved to claim it for themselves, forcing High Command to launch nukes to stop the socialist monsters from finding out our most coveted secrets. As punishment for their defiance, the Cyborgs were forced to surrender and participate in elections to vote Super Earth into power lest they lose what little remained of their rights. One of the most intense conflicts of the First Galactic War is undoubtedly the Battle of Chapessa IV, sometimes referred to as the Liberation of Chapessa IV. This was yet another battle between the Helldivers and the scuttling Bugs, which saw some of the fiercest fighting the galaxy has ever borne witness to. Although the Bugs were ostensibly able to overcome the SEAF and Helldivers' defenses, the orbital assault ultimately led to their defeat. And naturally, Super Earth had more than a few run-ins with the Illuminate, but the most notable of these was undoubtedly the Battle of Squabai Shrine. With the Illuminate backed into a corner, the SEAF and Helldivers faced heavy resistance from the Squids, with many troops succumbing to the terrible effects of their psionic attacks. But ultimately, the combined might of the Helldivers saw the Illuminate's defenses crumble, and so defeated, these treacherous aliens were forced to sign a peace treaty with Super Earth. In any case, after surrendering their tech, the Illuminate left the Milky Way, promising to never return. And so, with all of Super-Earth's enemies defeated and banished or under our control, the First Galactic War officially came to an end towards the latter part of 2084. Malevelon Creek. Let's take a closer look at the planet, its history, and honor the Helldivers who helped shape its future. Located in the Severin sector, and often referred to as the Creek, this unassuming planet quickly became the most treacherous of the original Western Front. Super-Earth forces were initially successful in taking control of the Creek, but all that changed on February 8, 2184. Considered the start of the First Great Battle, small-scale conflicts between the SEAF and Automaton forces broke out early in the day. Struggling to deal with the situation, Super-Earth decided to introduce a recruitment drive known as Fight for the Creek, a mass call to arms for citizens to sign up and help purge the planet of the ever-increasing automaton threat. Success seemed certain until automaton forces launched yet another counterattack, thus preventing the SEAF from advancing any further. During this time, the Creekers were able to leak extremely gruesome details of the slaughter to High Command. Naturally, this resulted in the Ministry of Truth releasing a statement that the automatons are incapable of morality and empathy, and that under no circumstances should mercy be given to these socialist monsters. At the same time the Creekers and the First Honor Guard struggled to fight off automaton forces on Malevelon Creek, battles were being waged by the SEAF on two nearby planets, namely Draupnir and Mantis. Thus the fight to reopen the Severin sector continued with little to no progress all the way until March 4th, 2184. Eventually, after much effort, the Helldivers were able to retake Mantis, allowing for reliable access to the Creek for the first time since its initial loss. The Helldivers proceeded to bombard the planet with massive amounts of reinforcements and stratagems, doing their very best to destroy the bots' infrastructure and remove their strategic advantage at any cost. Finally, on April 2nd, 2184, after what seemed to be an endless number of grueling engagements, it appeared that victory had been attained, and celebrations broke out across the planet. While the Helldivers reveled in the temporary success of retaking the Creek, the automatons launched what appeared to be a last-ditch effort to regain control of the planet. With a significant increase in the number of automaton forces and weaponry arriving on the planet, High Command had no choice but to issue an immediate evacuation order for all civilians. Finally, after 9 hours of relentless, brutal fighting, the Helldivers were able to successfully repel the automaton offensive. On April 3rd, 2184, Malevelon Creek was completely purged of the automaton threat.
Heroes are not born. They are forged in the fires of battle. When all odds were against them, they proved themselves to be an unrelenting force for the higher calling that is managed democracy. The Legends series celebrates these brave individuals who helped shape our illustrious Super-Earth. While many Helldivers have sought to reach these venerable heights, only the select few have actually achieved this greatness through their courage, strategy, and sacrifice. Let's honor their stories by reliving the acclaimed triumphs that made them staples in the books of legend once more.
We present a closer look at none other than the legend himself, General Brash. The man known as General Brash was born well over a century ago, so the exact details regarding his origins are sketchy at best. However, it is a well-known fact that he is indeed a veteran of the First Galactic War. It is said that Brash was one of the first super citizens to sign up for the Helldiver Corps, and that his physical prowess and tactical approach to combat is what truly set him apart from his fellow Helldivers. Due to his valor and bravery, Brash quickly rose up the ranks of the SEAF, applying his battle acumen and knowledge of the enemy to the many brutal situations Super-Earth found itself embroiled in. But even though Brash is still very much part of the Helldiver Corps, there are those who have questioned the General and his integrity in the past. Today, General Brash continues to carry out his sacred duty by training new recruits in the Helldiver training facility located on Mars. Now, it is true that most Helldivers have never actually seen Brash in person. Even when receiving instructions from him, it is all done vocally via a sophisticated radio broadcast system. As a direct result, there are those troops who believe that Brash is actually dead and that he simply serves as a propaganda tool to encourage young prospects to sign up to be a Helldiver. So as many are aware of General Brash and his countless exploits, so too do they know of the legendary John Helldiver. Today we take a look at the stuff of legend. Known by many as the Maestro of Mayhem, the Democratic Demolisher, or the Ambassador of Annihilation, this elusive figure goes by countless different names. However, most of us simply know him as John. So then, who exactly is this fearless soldier of fortune they call John Helldiver? The first official statement surrounding this legend comes in the form of a mention in official documents from the extremely well-received 60-day Arsenal Augmentation Initiative, which commenced early on in August of this year. Today, still wanted by the automatons, they survive as a soldier of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can enlist John Helldiver. It's clear that John is trusted by High Command, but in all likelihood, they deliberately keep his identity a secret to ensure that he is able to conduct his operations without having to fear for his life or the lives of his loved ones. With official files under lock and key by the proper authorities, we here at the SCS can only speculate on details surrounding John based on the unconfirmed personal accounts from fellow devoted Helldivers. Take note that these soldiers only claim to have second-hand accounts of planetary operations executed with John Helldiver, and that none of these statements are backed up by anyone in Super Earth's command structure. I've heard that he managed to hold back the automaton offensive temporarily all by himself back in Malevolon Creek. Very recently, he was also the first one to dive into Velt and helped to liberate 50% of the planet all alone. He's a true hero. Not a weeb or furry. I heard he once jumped without a hell pod and crushed a Bile Titan. Any consequence 6283. I heard he single-handedly stopped an entire automaton offensive strictly using resupply pods. Formal Salamander 12. I heard he beat a Bile Titan in a puking duel after drinking nothing but Liberty for 3 days. Neerdalung. These kinds of claims admittedly go on and on. Given just how outlandish many of these quotes are, it is entirely possible that none are true. However, there are many who truly believe that John Helldiver possesses skills and abilities that make him closer to a god than a man. Whether John Helldiver is a friend of General Brash, his brother, or even his son, it's of no real consequence. Wherever there is trouble, or if a mission of critical importance needs to be dealt with in an efficient manner, John will be dispatched.
We don't know where we would be without our democratic, freedom-loving, liberty-drinking, bombarding community. It was you who believed in us, providing the push to go beyond what we believed was achievable in our darkest hours. We quickly reached over 100,000, then 250,000 subscribers in less than a year. We created series like Top 10 Helldivers, Factions, and Traitors You Will Meet on the Battlefield. All thanks to you. We have big plans for more community-focused content this coming year. But as always, we need your crucial input, as well as the approval from the Ministry of Truth. Remember that in the chaos of battle, knowing yourself is critical, but knowing the Helldiver next to you, that's paramount. As we are all brothers and sisters in the battle to spread freedom throughout this galaxy. The Types of Helldivers series brought us laughs, insights, and plenty of relatable moments. So what category do you fall under?
With so many Helldiver factions out there, High Command has ordered us to educate you all on the different types of Helldivers that currently operate within, and even outside of, the SCAF. With the assistance of the Ministry of Truth and the Ministry of Science, these are the 10 approved types that officially exist in our leadership's view. First up, we have the Camp Divers. These soldiers prefer high vantage points and long-range weapons so that they can take out key targets from a distance. Second on our list are the ever-important logistical divers, aka support divers. Keeping your squad mates alive and properly supplied on the battlefield is a job all on its own, so logistical divers take care of all your in-field needs. This next type of Helldiver is arguably one of our favorites and seemingly inspired by the tactics soldiers used during World War I, which occurred many centuries ago on Old Earth, and the Death Corps of Krieg from the Warhammer 40k universe. Trench divers are usually easy to identify as they will wear helmets with gas masks or even those that borrow their aesthetic from the noble warriors of Old Earth. This next Helldiver type is technically a faction within the SCAF, but it seems they have a particularly unique approach when it comes to combat. The Cheese Divers are said to be one of the oldest units within the Helldiver Corps and are easily identified as they all wear the TR-40 Golden Eagle armor set. The Chaos Divers are a faction that operates within and also seemingly outside of the Helldiver Corps. This group emerged shortly after the Escalation of Freedom Initiative was put into effect, as they believed that High Command deliberately provided the SCAF with inferior weapons, thus leading to the needless deaths of countless Helldivers and super citizens. The following type may encompass the vast majority of Helldivers, but is still well worth highlighting. Assault Divers are Helldivers who are very much the opposites of Ghost Divers, engaging the enemy at every turn and doing everything in their power to take out any patrols they come across. These Helldivers will usually wear medium armor or even heavier sets so that they can take a fair amount of punishment from enemies. As for the second unofficial type of Helldiver, we have the Hellhellers. From the accounts of several Helldivers, Hellhellers generally love flame-based weapons and anything of the incendiary variety. This means that flamethrowers, orbital napalm barrages, incendiary grenades, and more are the weapons of choice for Hellhellers. The Ministry of Truth has learnt of 5 different traitor groups operating within the known galaxy at this very moment. Pay close attention and ensure you report anyone who aligns with any of these groups to your nearest democracy officer. If you've ever found yourself feeling closer to cockroaches, fleas, ticks, or any kind of filthy insect, then you may well be a bug sympathizer sympathizer, but there are those individuals who feel some kind of compassion for our dreaded enemies, the Terminids.
Don't shoot my friendly Terminid. This is my pet.
Perhaps the most hateful and despicable group of traitors are those known as griefers or team killers. These Helldivers are driven by one thing and one thing only: burning hatred. Yes, if there is any one category of traitors that truly hate democracy and indeed everything around them, it's griefers. There's nothing wrong with taking an interest in machinery or technology, but if you somehow think that robots or artificial entities are superior to humans, you are on the precipice of being a bot sympathizer. There is another broad group divided into several smaller factions that believe Super Earth is the one that started hostilities towards the automatons. Possibly the single most annoying and perplexing type of traitor you have or will encounter in the field is trolls. Although they share some similarities with griefers, they are ultimately different from their clearly malign counterparts. Trolls could be described as pure unadulterated chaos with little or no consideration given to the end result of their actions. Today we present 10 Helldiver factions or divisions that you're sure to come across at some point on the battlefield. First up, we have Mercdivers PMC, or sometimes PMC Mercdivers. So you know how most Helldivers are motivated solely by spreading liberty, justice, and democracy across the galaxy? Well, that ain't the Mercdivers. These hombres want cold, hard super credits and believe that politics should be left to the wimpy pencil pushers and the dogma to the clergy. Next on our list, we have the Blitzdivers, a growing faction of Helldivers that has only been around for a short while but is rapidly gaining traction with over 500 members so far. The Blitzdivers are an offshoot of the Chaos Divers, but unlike their counterparts clad in red and black, they are still loyal to Super Earth and love managed democracy. We now turn our attention to the 104th Wolf Battalion, a faction we initially made some incorrect assumptions about but have since had more insights on them shared with us. These Helldivers are the children of Isa Pass, a world that has been ravaged by the bot scourge time and time again. Up next is the 99th Hell Company, undoubtedly one of the most prolific and skilled factions currently operating in the galaxy. The 99th's members only take part in major orders and ensure that they routinely show up to ensure that managed democracy is spread with the vim and vigor it deserves. Now we focus on the 101st Hell Battalion, a faction we covered some time back that has shared some updates with us. Since we broadcast information about the 101st and their recruitment drive, the faction has grown by 150% from around 1,000 members to 2,500. So intense was the influx of Helldivers clamoring to sign up that the 101st was soon overwhelmed, working together to process batches of new recruits as quickly as they possibly could.
Helldivers, this year has been unforgettable. Through countless battles, lives lost, friendships made, and, if we're being honest, a few misfires, we've proven that Super Earth's strength lies within its people. People that make up the very fabric of the SES. Here's to another year of spreading freedom, exterminating bugs, suppressing socialist bots, and vanquishing the nefarious Illuminati alike. For the glory of Super Earth and democracy. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share your favorite Helldiver moments in the comments. Together, we'll make 2189 an even better year.